On the show, in Wheelspin, we drive the Audi R8 with the V10 Plus engine. In Wheelspin, we ride the Ducati Monster 795. And on the road, we drive the Volkswagen Polo to Nahan in Himachal Pradesh.
What I have with me today is a car which has been the flagship of brand Audi in terms of performance, in terms of technology, in terms of design, in terms of engineering. In fact, this has been the car which has showcased brand Audi for a long time, the R8. The R8 was born as a sports car and meant to take on some of the supercars of the world like the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis and the Porsches. And the years that the R8 has been around, it did manage to achieve some of this. But today we have the R8 on the show for the simple reason that something has changed in it, something that will enhance its performance further.
The R8 was born in 2007 and a year later in 2008 was launched in India. The R8 is now available here in India with a basic 4.2-litre V8 engine, a V10 engine and a V10 Plus, which is what we drive today. Additionally, 99 units of the special edition were sold called the LMX.
When you peep in through this huge glass which covers the engine bay here, you realize what is really going to enhance performance. What's tucked in here is a V10, or what Audi calls the V10 Plus. And this is instead of the V8 and the V10 with which the R8 was selling so far. And what this will do is produce more brake horsepower and liven up things once you get in behind the wheels. And this is what Audi is offering its customers in India now. If you thought that the front of the R8 was stylish, then I think I'm more impressed by what the rear end offers in terms of styling. Wide wheel arches which covers fat 305 tires sitting on stylish alloy wheels, and this gives the car a very nice low squat sports car like appearance. Add to this fighter jet style twin exhaust, a diffuser with more carbon fiber and of course very stylish LED tail lamps. I think the rear is the most beautiful part of this car. In fact, the R8 is easily one of the best looking cars in the market today. If you step inside the R8 expecting to be greeted by a very sports car-like feeling, then you're not going to be disappointed, because this does look and feel like a sports car. Small sporty steering wheel which is flat bottom and leather wrapped, seats that will hug you tightly around fast corners, a sporty instrumentation panel and of course paddle shift for fast gear changing. It has got all the elements that make it feel like a sports car. But then it combines luxury very well also. Leather wrapped seats and all the functional elements that you need in a car, like navigation, a quality stereo system, and in fact this is a car you can probably drive on an everyday basis, except for the fact that it just comes with 2 seats. But then there are a few oddities here as well. For example, you don't find the seats electrically adjustable. To move it forward or backwards for that matter, you have to do it manually. And this comes as a bit of surprise, especially as this is positioned as a top-end sports car. Then if you look at the gear lever here, you find that there is no parking position. So if you are stationary on a traffic light, you have to immediately pull the handbrake, otherwise the car may roll. But when you switch off, this does manage to get onto the parking position by itself. But I think this needs a parking position.
The R8 was conceived as a driver's car with pure unadulterated power coming from a mid-engine architecture, which fed power to all the wheels through the Quattro or the permanent all-wheel drive system, but to make things more lively with a bias towards the rear wheels. Styled as a coupe with 2 doors and a slanting roofline, the R8 is small and compact, sitting on a 2.65 meter wheelbase, which essentially makes it a 2-seater but at the same time liberates enough space for the driver and 1 passenger. The result is that the R8 at first glance looks all of a sports car it is intended to be. And when you press the pedal, you do realize that the power which comes out of the V10 Plus does indeed transform the R8 into a car which promises immense fun.
As the naming suggests, this Audi R8 is powered by a V10 engine, and this is a monstrous 5.2-liter engine which churns out a mammoth 550 brake horsepower and gets to the 100-kilometer mark in just 3.5 seconds with a top speed of over 300 kilometers. Well, that's very impressive, isn't it? And every time you blip the throttle, you know that the spec sheet hasn't really been lying. In fact, the acceleration here is almost brutal. And you'd love it if you are a speed junkie. The way this car really accelerates is very pleasurable. You are going to enjoy this if you like quick cars. But then that's where most of the good things are going to end. Because if you have paid as much as you would have for a car like this, you are bound to compare this with any other supercar. And when you do that, this is where this R8 falls short, especially in 3 departments. Number 1, a fast car needs really fast brakes. And this car is lacking in that. The brake modulation is just not up to the standards. It's a little spongy and the pedal pressure is really skewed towards the end. So you really have to anticipate your braking, and initially when you start driving the car, it does catch you a bit unawares. I don't like the pedal locking up towards the end. You know, it has to be better modulated. That's the number 1 thing. The number 2 thing is the gear shifting. This engine is made it to a 7-speed gearbox, which is just as well, but the problem is that the gear shifting is really jerky. It's not very smooth. Whether it's upshifting or downshifting, it just kicks in and you can feel the gears grating down or up. And that's not really very nice. I would have preferred a much smoother gearbox. And the third thing is that the ride quality, even by supercar standards, is rather harsh. The little aberrations also filter in and you feel the steering rattling, and it's almost bone jarring on a bad road. It has to be somewhat adjusted for roads like India. I mean, this is really, really hard. It's almost bone jarring. If you see an R8 looming up into your rear view mirror, 2 things you will immediately notice. Number 1, that you're being followed by a real fast car. And number 2, that you are also being followed by a very good looking car. The R8 is quintessentially a sports car. Fast and gorgeous to look at any which way you look at it. And this is why I feel so many people have become a fan of this R8. After having spent some time here with this R8, all I can tell you is that if you are planning to buy this R8, what you're going to get is a very nice looking car, and is bound to turn heads your way no matter where you go. And the interiors here very nicely complement the exterior styling. It looks stylish, well made, and you have all the features that you would expect from a top-end sports car. But what really disappoints me a bit is the fact that this is not as drivable as a supercar. Because the spec sheets will tell you that this is a car which is really impressive. A V10 power, 550 brake horsepower, 0 to 100 in 3.5 seconds, top speed 317 kilometers. You know, it really reads very nicely. But once you get in behind the wheel and you start driving, you realize that all this does not really translate into great drivability, because the gear shifting is really jerky, the brakes are not progressive, so it's still not really there in the supercar league. And on top of that, Audi is going to price it at around ₹2.3 crores, which is very expensive, and it puts it in the supercar league. In fact, you can get a thoroughbred Porsche 911 for less than this.
The Ducati Monster is an icon. This is a motorcycle which needs no introduction. Every biker worth his salt would have considered owning one at least once in his lifetime. The Monster 795 we're riding today is the least expensive motorcycle on offer from Ducati in India today.
Where does the 795 sit in Ducati's Monster family? It's the smallest Monster currently available and has an 803cc L-twin engine, putting out 87 PS and 78 Newton meters of torque. These figures might appear modest, but let's not forget that this baby monster weighs just 187 kilos, fully fueled and ready to go. Considering the fact that max torque is available at a lowly 6,250 RPM, the Monster 795 is a snorting, willing beast, pulling strongly even at low engine speeds. The engine too is a simple 2-valve per cylinder design and is air-cooled to boot.
Just look at it. The Monster is a pure motorcycle. There are no superfluous bits and bobs on this bike. The chunky tank forms the center of the design. You have the trademark red trellis frame, you have the beefy upside down front fork and the yellow spring on the rear shock absorber. What you see here, like I said, is a pure motorbike. There's a frame, an engine, a tank and a seat. Nothing to distract you from the riding experience while you're on the go.
This Monster has a characterful design that will turn heads wherever you go. Fit and finish is of a high order, and the low seat with generous padding and comfortable ergonomics makes the 795 extremely easy to maneuver in traffic. Even riders of a shorter stature will easily be able to put their foot down at a traffic light. The riding stance does make you lean forward, but not uncomfortably so. The clutch is precise and easy to modulate, and the brakes have strong bite. However, don't forget for a moment that this bike is devoid of ABS, and if you grab the front Brembos hard, be prepared to be catapulted over the front wheel. In fact, part of what makes the Monster 795 so engaging to ride is the fact that although it does not come with electronic safety aids, it still has a degree of performance which will be accessible and enticing to the average rider. The exhaust note from the twin underseat exhaust is loud, yet not stupidly so as to make you feel like a complete idiot. Grip levels from the Pirelli tires is of a very high order, and I even managed to scrape the foot pegs on occasion. The suspension is firm, yet well damped, and as a rider you are always fully aware of what's happening on the road beneath you. Indeed, I found the Monster 795 to be an intuitive motorcycle to ride. Fuel economy isn't bad either, and 20 kilometers a litre should be gettable in the city. If I do have a gripe, it is the all-digital dashboard, which isn't legible in sunlight, and the graphics are not easy to read at a glance.
So how much of a monster is this baby Monster? You know, it's actually really quite the little monster. It's stiff, it's lightweight, it's chuckable, it's flickable. The recesses in the tank allow you to grip it tightly with your knees. Point to point in an urban cityscape, I can tell you that this would be one of the quickest bikes you could ride.
Like I mentioned earlier, the Monster 795 is the least expensive Ducati currently on offer in India till the Scrambler comes along. Even then, it isn't really cheap. What the Monster does have going for it is its fun-to-ride character and instantly recognizable styling. You can only buy the Monster 795 in red, and it does not have ABS.
highways again. I'm off to what I believe is a really pretty hill station in Himachal Pradesh called Nahan. And in fact, there's several pretty places in the area, so this is going to be a cluster holiday for me where I visit several places on this trip. And to take me there, I have the Volkswagen Polo. And in fact, this is not just the Polo, it's the Polo GT TDI. I'm sure that extra dose of power is going to make it all the more fun to drive on the highways. So off I go. Located in its southern tip, Nahan is one of the most beautiful places in Himachal Pradesh. It's about 267 kilometers from Delhi, a 5 to 6 hour drive via NH1. Surrounded by the gorgeous misty green valleys of the Himalayas, it's a lovely place for a break away from the heat in the summer months. I've reached the halfway mark and I have to say that it's been an excellent journey so far. NH1, although busy in parts, is very well surfaced, and so I've made good time. So I thought I'd take a little break. And of course, the Polo has just been such a pleasure to drive. Its 1.5-litre turbo diesel engine churns out 103 bhp, and even though it's pretty powerful, it's also really fuel efficient. It can give you up to 20 kilometers per litre, which I think is pretty amazing. But now, time for me to enjoy some nature. I thought I'd visit Paonta Sahib Gurdwara en route to Nahan, and I'm sure I'm going to get there in no time. Paonta Sahib, located on the banks of the river Yamuna, is an extremely important pilgrimage site, especially for Sikhs. And since it's on my way to Nahan, I thought I'd stop by. And now this place is so important because Guru Gobind Singh lived here. In fact, he founded the Gurdwara and wrote the Dasam Granth here. So it's an extremely important place in terms of its religious significance, and you can just feel how peaceful it is as soon as you enter the compound. I'm looking forward to walking around. On the invitation of Raja Maidani Prakash of Sirmaur, Guru Gobind Singh lived at this beautiful spot for over 4 years. The word Paonta means foothold, and the historic Gurdwara commemorates his stay here. It's a popular stopover on the way to or from Nahan. After that lovely spiritual detour, it's time to get back in the Polo and head further north to Nahan. The Polo really packs in a number of cool features. It has very effective climate control, a great sounding stereo system, the signature flat-bottomed steering wheel, and dual front airbags. The interiors are also very comfortable with nice seats and lots of legroom. It's really a lot of fun to drive. Next stop, Nahan. I've arrived in Nahan, or rather the Sirmaur district, and as you can see, the heart of the town lies there in the distance. But I thought I'd first take in these beautiful views as well as some crisp mountain air before I set out to explore the town. Taking a stroll in the hills, you can discover your own nature trail. Everywhere you look, you see beautiful wild flowers and you're surrounded by birdsong. Nahan was home to the royal family of Sirmaur from the 17th century onward, and you can walk past the two palaces of erstwhile royals right in the city centre. Even the lake here is called Rani Tal or Queen's Lake. It's supposedly a very pretty spot, so I thought I'd head over there next. The lake here is called Rani Tal, and while it was once reserved for the leisure activities of the royal family, today it's open to the public, and it's such a beautiful and peaceful place to come by. You can just enjoy the views ensconced by the mango trees and the bougainvillea, or you could go by the temple on the banks. It's really lovely. Nearby Jamta to check out Jatiak Fort, which lies on top of a hill here. Now this was originally Nahan Fort, but then it was ravaged by a Gurkha raid in the 19th century, and the Gurkha leader built Jatiak Fort here. So it's an important symbol of Nahan's history, and it affords beautiful panoramas of the region. It's been a lovely trip to Nahan. It is so rewarding to come up here because there's so many beautiful places in and around the region. And of course, it's been an absolute pleasure to drive the Volkswagen Polo GT TDI. It's been such fun being behind the wheel. And I'm excited that I'm going to get to explore more of Himachal Pradesh as we continue. So I do hope to see you again next week.